Thank God, dear friends, the Democrats are without the most basic of political philosophies, cephalogical backgrounds, and the like. Thank God they are that stupid. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still talking about Joe Biden's debate failure, and they have yet to address the problem. Now, first and foremost, dear friends, I want to remind you that I, like you, like most of us, want the Biden juggernaut to derail and to collapse and to fall apart mercilessly because they are evil. They are the embodiment of corruption. And if left to their own devices, they would destroy our country. That is their goal. Why? I have no idea, but that's their goal. Okay. Now, let me tell you what I would do. And we're going to talk about a couple of topics, but this is what I would do if I were in charge of trying to rehabilitate Biden. Now, let me explain something to you, my friend. You listen to me very carefully. I do not want to see this jadrul, this chooch, anywhere near the White House ever again. But I'm showing you just how stupid these people think. And the question that I have, and the question that's the most important for all of us to understand is, what are you trying to sell? What are the Republicans doing to try to rehabilitate him? Nothing. Nothing. You've got a Democrat here and there coming out and saying, I'm gonna, unless you do something, he quits. I'm out of here. Okay, fine. What is it that you say? What would have been the best thing to do? And I want you to think, friends. I want you to put your thoughts aside and imagine that you were paid millions to help out. The first thing you would have done is to understand one thing. America has the attention span of a gnat. After the debate, just forget about it. Go away. Do something else. Bomb a country. Have an Easter egg roll. Even though it's not Easter, do something. I don't care. Rule number 1. Let America forget. They forget about everything. They forget about everything. You don't understand. They forget about everything. So what did they do? No. They went to George Stephanopoulos to do what? What do you think was the purpose behind the Stephanopoulos appearance? It's for him to look better. Remarkably better. I mean, like Lyle Wagner in the old days. You wanted him to be this absolute, from Reverend Jim to, Pierce Brosnan or Piers Morgan. I don't care. That's all. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. They didn't do this. They have no plan. They're so used to just putting people in and either stealing the elections or just, I don't know. They don't even think. So you would have said, first of all, do not have this show with George Stephanopoulos. And if you do have the show, what do? What could Joe Biden have done? Joe Biden looked like what he did the other day. What could he have done? Next point. You need somebody who's an expert, a bit of a neurologist. I spent today, Mrs. L was doing something, and we're driving about, and she went in, got back in the car, and in the car, it's a Yugo, by the way, it's a Stretch. I had on the transistor. I'm listening to lectures on Lewy body syndrome. Dementia by Lewy bodies. Lewy bodies, dementia. LBD, dementia, Lewy body. That's what I would pick as my suggestion. That's it. That's my diagnosis. That's my thing. Not Alzheimer's, not Parkinson's. Though Parkinson's dementia is very interesting. Lewy body. One of the most fascinating stories there is. Now, you wouldn't want anybody to know this, but everybody's trying so hard. Did you see today? They're asking for a Parkinson's expert. Parkinson's? That's not this. Parkinson is motor. It's more. Look at Michael J. Fox. Michael J. Fox is mentally with it. His motor control is a different story. But there's three things: Parkinson's, dementia, Alzheimer's, and dementia, Lewy body dementia, LBD. Those are the big three. Lewy body dementia, by the way, is so interesting. I think it was 1962. Parkinson's was first. Parkinson's, they thought, was a young person's disease because they weren't even doing autopsies. They didn't know anything about it. Lewy body is a different story. There's something called the Lewy bodies, or these entanglements, these alpha synucleins, these weird kind of not the amyloid gunk in Alzheimer's, but something else. And with Lewy body, it's the weirdest thing. You give antihistamine to somebody with Lewy body, oh man, they have so little dopamine, so many neurotransmitters left that the antihistamines just eat it up. So they hallucinate. They're subject to illusions. Don't forget, an illusion is something that's there that you see differently. They can look at a rock and think it's a dinosaur. Something was there, they just misperceived it. They can have auditory sometimes, but normally it's visual hallucinations. And also they have this terrible thing called REM sleep interruption, where spouses know about this. I don't want to act like an expert, but I was listening to this. It is so interesting. But he's got everything: the gait, the stiffness. He doesn't have cognitive problems. He's not forgetting the question. He doesn't stop in the middle of a question and say, "What was that again? What was that? Did you?" He'll trail off, but he's not forgetting it. He doesn't turn to him and say, "Who are you?" Things like that. He's not doing that. Now, what would I do? I would have somebody named Dr. So-and-so. This is if you want him in. This is if you really need to have him in. I would have somebody who wants to sell his soul to the devil, somebody who's got some good bona fides, some cred, a good CV, who says, "My name is Dr. Hiram Merriweather. I'm the Department of Neurology at Penn, blah, 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 and Rice Hospital, and UCLA, at Stanford, and all children," whatever it is. I am considered by many to be the renowned expert. You can ask around. And I have looked at Mr. Biden, President Biden. And I'm telling you right now, he does not have Alzheimer's. He does not. We did a cognitive test. What he has is, he looks like, I'm sorry, he looks like, you can fill in the scatological reference. His skin looks like hell. It gets very thin. When you get older, sometimes you can see it. Certain things happen. Your skin gets thinner. You lose subcutaneous fat. The cap teeth look great though. The teeth, the denture, not denture, but the dental work is good. He knows where he is. He sounds breathy. He sounds a little kind of muddled. But let me tell you something right now. This may sound like great. Did you ever meet William Casey? William Casey was considered a bona fide genius. He was the head of the SEC and CIA. They thought he was drunk. He was. Did you ever hear Winston Churchill? Whoever said Winston Churchill was somehow a great orator, I never listened to Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill used to walk around. He would be at the White House, walk around nude, drinking brandy. He was halal all day long. He was gone. He was waxed. He drank all day long. I don't want to bring up Stephen Hawking, but ladies and gentlemen, by your definition, you wouldn't want Stephen Hawking on the Trump team because he does it. Because of that 3:00 in the morning call. You know how many people? What do you think this is? A switchboard? Do you think they're not going to wake him? What do we do? Do you think he is without any ability? Seriously. I would tell people specifically, he looks like That's all it is. He does not have Alzheimer's. He does not suffer from any form of dementia. Not Lewy body, not Parkinson's dementia, not anything. He doesn't have it. I'm telling you. He looks like hell. Now, with all due respect, even though we're not supposed to, Kamala Harris, she's significantly younger. I don't know what the hell she's talking about. I think she has logolalia. That is a symptom of schizophrenia. She also has pseudobulbar affect and hebephrenia, also schizophrenic. So she's bat crazy, okay? You really wanted me to get into it, I'll do it. And by the way, let me show you a picture. See this right here? I'm like Jackie Vernon. See this? This is Bill Clinton. See how he walks around with his mouth open? Look at him. Nobody's talking about him. His feet slide like that. Then we got this one. Here's Hillary Clinton. Her mind is working, but she has no soul. Let's keep going. Here's Bob Dole. Bob Dole was walking around paralyzed most of the time. He was in excruciating pain most of his life. He ran for president. Nobody had a problem with that. No, I'm not done yet. Let's talk about Governor Greg Abbott. Who is it? He's in a wheelchair. Let's talk about the giant. Inouye didn't have an arm. Strom Thurmond, by the way, the only man ever to move into a hotel. Excuse me, into a hospital. What am I saying? Not check into a hospital. He moved into a hospital. Do you hear what I said? He moved into a hospital. I don't know how to say it any other way. But I'll tell you right now, he looks like hell, but he does not have Alzheimer's. He does not suffer from any form of dementia. I'll sign anything you want. Now, that's it. Wouldn't that be something? Just answer my question. If somebody even approximated that, actually answered your question. I know he's not demented. He doesn't have memory loss. Tell people what it is. Tell what Alzheimer's is. He doesn't have that. I'm telling you. Is he? Yeah, he whispers. Yeah, he whispers. Yeah, he does. Okay. And what else? But this is how bad these people are. And why is this important? Because the Democrats, this is why they're going to lose. They don't give a damn about anything. They don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. They're looking at you like, hey, Prohl, hey, shut up and vote for Biden. I don't care what you think. Shut up and vote. That's it. They don't even put a case on. Some idiot says we're going to put Biden on again with George Stephanopoulos, who, by the way, George Stephanopoulos did a great job. A 4-year-old could have done a great job compared to that. What are you talking about? They didn't do anything to try to correct it. This is how stupid these people are. George Keane said, what about the White House doctors that said Joe Biden was super fit? Yeah. And also they said, send us some Parkinson's guys. Well, okay. It's not Parkinson's. He doesn't have any tremor. He might have a bit of a gay problem. He might have the precursors. See, somebody has to come out and explain to you what this terms mean, because people use the term incorrectly, demented, but they didn't do that. So I think there's a very good chance, believe it or not, you may laugh, he may end up staying there. He may say something. And here's the thing. When you're talking about people who run the world, people who by their very notion are evil, they're going to take one look at Barry Diller and say, let me tell you something, Barry. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you're from. I don't know what you've done. I know this is your girlfriend, Diane Van Furstenberg. Yeah, okay. All right. You want to play that game? Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll buy that. If that's your story. But let me tell you something, Barry, and all you quizzlings and you traitors. We run the show here. We run the world. And we will make sure that every one of you who came out against our guy, I promise you, you will feel the repercussion. You will feel the wrath. Wait till you see what happens to your fundraising. Wait till you see what happens. Just watch what happens. We run the show. Now, I don't know about you, but let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a very serious question, and I want you to answer me. And I want you to do everything in your power to answer me truthfully and correctly, and I don't want you to lie to me. Okay? I'm going to ask you this question. And I want you to answer this. You may not want to answer this, but I want you to answer it because it's that critical, not important. George says, I feel White House doctor getting money later. Hope DJT fires him. Ah, yeah. Whatever. Listen, you're supposed, yeah. Remember Trump's first doctor? Remember this guy? I don't know who this guy was, but he looked like a nut with the long hair and look, doesn't matter. Let me ask you a question. If you were in the White House and you had reason to believe that there was something wrong with President Trump, Trump's in the White House, would you tell the world? I wouldn't. If I was in the White House and they said to me, listen, I don't think it's more than Trump doesn't have his fastball. I think he might have. You didn't hear it from me. I don't care. I don't care if that man. Sorry. And the first person who peeps a word of this, you're done. You're finished. You're fired. You're through. I circle the wagon. I don't rat anybody out. Trump with Alzheimer's, Trump with dementia is better than anything these sick bastards have to offer. And they even turn on Biden. They have no soul. Let me say it again. I'm loyal. This country is going to collapse if anybody but Trump takes the helm. So consequently, unless he physically disappeared, and that would be to the story, I would never say anything regarding that. You understand what I'm saying? These people have no soul. George said, if anyone sounds the shadow government, ask Smedley Butler in the group that asked him to replace FDR. The Dickstein Commission exposed that. Never heard of group members. Yep. By the way, thank you so much. Smedley Butler, whose famous book, War is a Racket. Incredible. Now, George, let me ask you a question. What's happening now? You ready for this? Anybody talk to Kamala? Anybody talk to her? No. Kamala, sit down. Let me explain to you what's happening. Did you see Real Clear Politics today showed that Trump is 6 points, 7 points, depending upon above Kamala. Now, I don't know why he's not 30 points. I can't control that. But already he's gonna beat her. Right now, without her or anybody saying a word. And I'm kind of glad to hear this. He's going to beat her. Absolutely, positively. Now, I want to sit there and say, now, Kamala, let me explain something to you. Okay? First, they're going to trash you. They're already bringing up the Willie Brown thing. They're going to slut shame her immediately. Now, I don't know if that makes any sense today. I don't know if anybody cares. We're so demented in this country that might actually, I don't know, it might inure to her benefit. But they're going to come after you like you wouldn't believe. That everything you did was basically at the behest of some man, that you were Willie's girl. And then later on, the picture of you, did you ever see the picture of him walking around with Montel Williams? She looks almost like a Squeaky Fromm, kind of like she looked not drugged, but she looked like some Hollywood starlet type just hanging on his. It was very weird, very creepy. So understand, Kamala Mamala, they're going to come at you big time. Big time. You have no idea. Can you handle that? Can you handle that? Do you understand what this is? Do you know what it's like to be mocked? I don't think you do. Have you talked to Michelle Obama? Ask Michelle Obama when they did that big mic business. Ask her how she liked that. From everybody from Joan Rivers to these internet memes. That hurts. Ask her how she felt about that. Can you handle that? Can you handle this? Are you able to handle this? Are you able to follow through with this? Do you know how mean these people get? Do you know how vicious these people are? You've suffered from nothing. I mean, nothing. They make fun of your speeches and word salad, but it's pretty benign. Not only that, it must not bother you because you keep giving these stupid speeches over and over again. But do you know how serious this is going to get? Do you know how mean is? I don't think so. This is horrible. These folks, they are brutal. Who's going to come for you? Who's going to come support you? If indeed you're the person. Can you handle this? And when you're asked to constantly answer this, is your husband able to handle this? He's pretty much enjoyed a kind of a, they're going to come after him too. Oh, they're going to come after him like you can't believe. The opposition research there. I mean, it is so brutal. Can you handle this? Can you handle this? I just want you to understand this. It's one of those things that's important. George says, sounds was doubts. Damn autocorrect. I kind of like, George, your original version, but thank you for that. Steve Steiber says, they are stuck with Kamala. They're cannibalistic DEI. Maybe. I don't think they're stuck with it, but I think they're telling people that they're stuck with it. George King says, I made a point of the day about the vice president being number one to think about, the vice president being number one to think about as the president is based on history. They could have called vice president the deputy president. Also, the vice president was meant to be the second biggest electoral vote getter. I think that's what you're saying. That was then, and the vice president was there specifically, and this is critical, the vice president was there to either a counterbalance in the case of somebody who was, let's say, not very old, but as the counterbalance. Mike Pence was a damn good vice president until towards the end. But Mike Pence was fine. Mike Pence, he was that evangelical sounding dude. I mean, he was really something. Remember this? He made it look like he was just raring to go. You see this? He was one of those folks that just, Now, let me stop you right there. Let me go back to this. Because this is what you have to think about. And nobody's really talking about this. And you're not going to hear them talking about this because to say this is to be realistic and to understand exactly what's going on. George says, yes, super idealistic. Imagine Donald J. Trump as Joe Biden VP, LOL. These are very interesting. Keen, you've got a keen mind. By the way, one of the best steakhouses in New York, just so that you know if ever in here, is a place called Keen's. It's one of the oldest, and they serve mutton. Steakhouses, Keen's. Okay, moving along. Kamala, are you ready for this? Now remember, I want you to think about what I'm saying. Are you ready to handle this? Do you know what Trump is going to do to you? Do you know what they're going to do to you? What are you going to say? Kamala, are you going to try the Stormy Daniels routine? How are you going to handle this? Are you going to handle this? Kamala, what if you were to bring up Stormy Daniels when he talked about Trump having the morals of an alley cat? You're not going to do that, are you? Because you know what's going to happen, right? They're going to say, excuse me, you're giving me morality lessons? You are. You are? And that's all he has to do. That's all he has to do. People say, what was that? What does that mean? And they'll do fact checking and they'll say, what does it mean? I think we're talking about the Willie Brown thing. Who's Willie Brown? And all Trump said was, you're doing this? Because the inflection means you have the morals of the entertainment director on a Greek galley ship. And you're telling me this? You're doing this? Sean Martin says, did you discuss Parkinson's doc consult yet? Yeah, we talked about it before. Why is it Parkinson's? Again, that's kind of a misleading thing. That's not where I would go. Why don't you bring in somebody who doesn't have, by the way, and also Joe Biden's ex-husband keeps saying that Joe has deeper issues and should take the cognitive test. What is What is that all about? Radio host said Biden campaign fed her questions for the interview for the president, and he still managed to make huge gaffes. Let me see. A top DC neurologist. This is a story. If you believe this, but a top DC neurologist had a meeting with President Bush's personal doctor at the White House earlier this year. According to visitor logs, Dr. Kevin Kennard, a Parkinson's disease expert at Walter Reed, met with Dr. Kevin O'Connor and two others at the White House Residence Clinic on January the 17th. According to records which emerge as questions continue to swirl about the 81-year-old president's mental health in the wake of his debate. Okay. Dr. John E. Atwood, a cardiologist, I guess, at Walter Reed. This is the New York Post. Dr. John E. Atwood, a cardiologist, or Walter Reed, was also seen in the 5 p.m. meeting at the White House, according to this. So what happened? They're fine. They're saying he did fine. O'Connor gave Biden a clean bill of health at his annual physical. Now, let me ask you something, Let me ask you something, Mr. Martin. Do you believe anybody's going to come forward and say anything? Do you think that his doctor is going to come forward and say, "Well, this guy's gone. This guy's out of his tree"? Do you believe that? Do you believe that? Our good friend George King says, "Thanks for the praise. I'm sheepish on mutton." Oh, there you go. Jean Marie says, Lionel, will Doug Burgum, governor from North Carolina, be Trump's VP? And what do you think South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem will be asked to do? Well, first, I could pretend, Gene, and by the way, thank you. I could pretend that we knew. It's nice that he's a governor. Trump likes people who are rich or who are handsome or muscular or athletic or whatever it is. Remember when he was going over Jim Jordan and he was, excuse me, he was talking about Jim Jordan's physical stature. Look at the women that Trump has around him, these younger women who are in charge of PR and the like. Margot Martin and there were the others as well, but he tends, So going back to what I was saying, he might do that, but I don't think it's a good choice. The reason why you want to pick a vice president, especially when you're 77 years old, 77, 78, is to take over, God forbid something happens, number one. Somebody that also makes the country feel good. And if not at all possible, maybe somebody who brings something to the game that you might not have, something who balances it out. As in the case of Mike Pence, who brought the Christian thing, whatever. So, we can say this. It doesn't matter what you like. I still say Ben Carson is the best choice for a number of reasons. George says, to quote you and Tolstoy, history is great if true. Actually, history would be a wonderful thing if only it was true. However, it's a great opaque owner's manual to life as some core themes never seem to change as much. You're right about that. And also, what did they say? That history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes? I don't know who said that. Vice presidents are the least important issue today. I'm sorry. We talk about it like it matters. We talk about it like that's going to make any difference. Does anybody think, well, I was going to vote for Trump, but I don't know. Burgum, I don't think so. I was going to vote for him, but I changed my mind. Does anybody think that? Does anybody, honest to God, think that? Seriously? Does anybody? Not at all. I'm not here, by the way. It doesn't. We talk about these things. The president's got to pick somebody who's going to sit back, stay out of his way, not do anything to try to pull the light, so to speak, from him. But I want to go back to this other thing right now, which is, I think, the most important. Two things. What have the Republicans done? Excuse me. What have the Democrats done to clarify the issue regarding their man? What have they done? They've done nothing. Now, I don't care. I'm not out to ask them to do a good job. That's not my thing. These people are the worst. Who was the idiot who decided to put Joe Biden on George Stephanopoulos' show? Why? Why? And I wish, if it's at all possible, and I've been saying this if you know me long enough, we need to tell some people right now, because I like what Trump's doing. He's sitting back. He's not saying anything, because right now, nobody wants to hear from Trump at all. The moment Trump says anything, they're going to try to shift the attention to him. Just let people talk about this. Everybody's talking about how bad Biden is. Let me ask you, wonderful people, the question. How many of your friends have asked you, what do you think about that debate? Did you see the debate? Did you watch that debate? Did you see it? Sean Martin says, calling you about, yes, a Yugo warranty. They are tough, Sean. George Keane says, we'll always love Mike Pence being inoculated from Me Too based on his days with women. Random thought, notice Bill and Hill have been out of the news. I saw Bill and Hill on a plane recently with a picture taken by some Instagrammer of sorts. Trump raised Eaters of Dead said Trump should deliver a KO punch to the left. He should go on a 30-day social media escapade, contact left-wing shows, answer questions, hold the olive branch, talk directly to the people. You know what? There may be something to that. Gene Crane said letters between Bragg, the judge, and Trump's attorney. The last line from the judge says, if sentencing is necessary, what does it mean? I'm a geologist. I think Jean or Jean, depending upon, I do not think that, well, put it this way, there exists a very good chance that you will not see anything, that his case will just disappear. When I was years ago in our MASH unit, every now and then there would be a case that just kind of went away. There was this wonderful thing that we had called double super secret probation. And some judges a case would just go away. Nothing in the news, mind you, nothing really that big, but it would just go away. And when asked, how can you do that? They would say, the joke was double secret probation. I went to the clerk's office one time and said, what was the final disposition of this case? And they said, disposition unknown. I swear to God. I don't think in his particular case that's going to happen, but there's a very good chance where it will just be somehow, either by virtue, by stipulation, something, it goes bye-bye. Steven Steiber says either they set Biden up or they had no idea George was going to push that hard. With all due respect, push that hard with what? Question, Stephen. Could anything have been done by George Stephanopoulos to change the way people think ultimately about the debate? Anything? Question number one. if they had meager Brzezinski, the sellout, the flack, the jadrul, meager Zika, the Zika virus. Remember that microcephalus pinhead is terrible. Anyway, could anybody have done anything? No. Do you think George Stephanopoulos, in a case that was so obviously horrible, would have ruined what's left of his career by throwing softballs at a guy that everybody on the planet was talking about? Do you think? The answer is no. The question then is, why did they do this? Why did they even have this? Why did he go on? What is the purpose of this? I don't know. Let me tell you what I would have done. After the debate, he goes away for a while. Or you see him, they don't talk about it. He just does his job. He invites people to the White House. He might maybe talk to Bibi, maybe go look at isn't there some storm cloud or some toxic spill, East Palestine, anywhere? All he had to do, after 3 days, they would have forgotten the whole thing. You think I'm kidding? After 3 days. But no. Somebody said, no, we're going to go on George Stephanopoulos. That's going to change something. Who was the idiot who said that? Do you hear what I'm saying? Why did they do this? George Stephanopoulos just was very good, but he asked questions that everybody had to ask. George Stephanopoulos maintained his own credibility. He elevated it a notch because let's face it, he's floundering around with Michael Strahan and that stupid Good Morning America, that awful. It was good to see him do that. It was very good. My question to you is, what good did a follow-up happen? They should have gone the other way. These people are so stupid. They're so stupid. Next. Do you think it's a good idea for Trump to go out and brutalize Biden? Do you think it's a good idea to finish the job? Let me see. How was this phrased again? I like it. It's very interesting. It says, let me see. Trump should deliver a KO to the left. This is Eaters of Dead. Trump should deliver a KO or a knockout to the left. He should go on a 30-day social media escapade, contact left-wing shows, answer questions, hold the olive branch, talk directly to the people. How many of you fine people think that's a good idea? Yes or no? Is that a good idea? Yes or no? Is that a good idea? Yes or no? Is that a good idea? Yes or no? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Would you advise that? Is that a good idea? Is that what you would do? Is that what you would do? Jonathan says yes. What would you do? Trump turns to you and says, what should I do? Should I do that? 30-day, go on lefty shows? Subject our president to go on a lefty show? Like what? Like who? Who? Howard Stern? No. Who? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No way. This is going to social media. He has to act presidential, talk about issues, and speak of Joe as though Joe's dead. That something tragic happened to them. Remember when Ronald Reagan said, I'm not going to use my opponent's youth and inexperience? You got it? That was Reagan. Every time he speaks about Trump, he said, I keep seeing this. Biden, he's got to say, listen, I don't want to, I'm very concerned about him. George Keane said, no bad idea, beyond self-evident. Joe Biden gone. No bad idea, beyond self-evident. Joe Biden gone. But the idea is that simply this. What is it that you're trying to do? Rule number 1. You want to win. right? You want to win. It's all you want to do is win. You don't want to knock anybody out. You don't want to do anything that's not going to make you win. It might be fun. It might be great to see Trump go on that. Remember Caitlyn, whatever her name was, the one with the eyebrows, who looks mean all the time. She looks just like furious. She's on CNN. Trump did great. It was her highest ratings ever. What good did that do? Did that help Trump? No. Did that help him with the left? No. Could Trump do anything to help with the left? No. There might be some independent, but it's not going to be Trump going on a lefty show where the lefty host is going to say, oh, I understand. So, wait a minute. So what you're saying, President Trump, is that not having a border is a bad idea. Oh, you know, I think, you know what? I stand corrected. Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think that that Trump's going to subject himself to what? Stormy Daniels, E. Jean Carroll? He's going to go and subject himself to that? Walk in, beard the lion in his den? What? Try to make friends? He's not going to make friends. Go in and do a KO? There's no KO. It's never going to be reaches again. They hate him. It's not it. Step one, let them kill their own candidate. They're doing a great job. Don't get in their way. Just wait. They're killing him. They're killing him. They're killing him. This is Biden. The party, the Democratic Party, liberalism, progressive, the party, everything. They're bringing everybody to show this hatred. Well, not hatred, but this anger towards not only the president, but the Democratic nominee. Do you hear what I'm saying? Everybody is coming out against him. Everybody. Everybody. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. Everybody. Trump should just wait. They're crushing him. Meanwhile, Kamala is like, wait a minute. Am I next? Maybe, not sure. But I don't know if I want to be. Shut up. You're going to be the vice president. You are the vice president. You're going to be the president once they get rid of him. But it's going to be horrible. Imagine after that period of time when Joe is removed. Either voluntarily he leaves, either he is asked to leave, forced to leave, whatever. Listen to me carefully. Imagine this. He's gone. He goes back to Wilmington or that beach in Delaware, to the house that he's remortgaged, refinanced 40, 50 times. He gets on Air Force One. He waves goodbye. He kind of shuffles to Air Force One with Jill. People kind of feel like, oh, God's sad. And that's what they'll do. Oh, Joe. Were we mean to Joe? Yeah. Oh, God. He was trying to do the best he could. Yeah. We were mean to him. Oh, God. Okay, who do we have now? Oh, yeah, you. Oh, hi. Who are you? Oh, yeah, Kamala. Okay. Oh, you're okay. Okay, honey, let's see what you got. That's the most lackluster, the most vapid, insipid, anodyne switcheroo anybody's ever seen. It's horrible. It's terrible. Let them kill their party. Trump, be quiet. No KOs, no knockouts, no nothing. They're killing themselves. So Kamala comes out and she says, hi, I'm your nominee by default. Even Gavin Newsom is saying, no, I'm looking at 28. Not now. No, I'm not jumping in now. No, about it. No. Oh, no, I don't want it. And there are others who may say, Gavin, you got to do it. Kamala's not strong enough. I don't give a damn whether she's strong enough. I don't want to. This is not the way I wanted to do it. Well, you better do this, because if we say no to you, you'll never be on any ticket for anything. So you see what I'm talking about? Do you see where I'm going with this? You haven't seen anything yet. You're still reacting. You're still talking about the debate. Wait until Joe leaves, because Joe cannot do it. The actual election is 122 days away. This is just the election. The election, which involves, as you can imagine, stuff like campaigning, appearances, maybe another God forbid, another debate. My friends, can you imagine what kind of audience the next debate will have? Stop for a second. I don't know who gets the debate, CNN or. Can you imagine the ratings? The ratings. The next time there's a debate. It will be. You will see. The streets will look like a tomb, like tombstone with tumbleweed. Everybody will be somewhere. Bars will be shut down. People will think we've got to see this again. And Trump, I'm telling you, was so beautiful, so brilliant. He didn't have to land a punch. It was Marciano and Joe Louis. It was sad. Now, if that doesn't work, imagine the debate between Kamala Harris and Trump. I don't even know. I might have to. I don't take any drugs, any anxiolytics or anything like that. I may have to get something. I may have to get some very serious, some type of not neuroleptics, but something, because I will be frozen in not only anticipation, but in sheer psycho-orgasmic collapse when I hear her give her first. We look to the back for the future, or whatever the hell she does. The community banks. I don't even know. I don't know what I'll do. This is the greatest election of my lifetime. Now, at some point, when things calm down, remember. Let me go back again, my friends. I know you're well intended, and that's why I love you. There's three groups of people. Number one, people who will vote for Trump. I will vote for Donald Trump no matter what. If he has Alzheimer's, if he has Lewy body dementia, if he has anything, if he is pronounced no longer with us, I'm voting for him. I'll do a Mel Carnahan. You don't understand. I want him, the name, the movement, the party, the answer. I want all of this. Do you hear what I'm saying? I want all of this. All of this. Just want to let you know. That's it. So it's the greatest thing ever. And believe me, vice president candidates, let's assume is Kamala. Who's she going to pick? Who would want to be her vice? I mean, I swear to God, I don't know. Please let it be Pete Booty Giggity Giggity. That would be one of the greatest. I don't even know. Then I will know the fix is completely in. Or maybe AOC. Is she old enough? Is AOC 35 yet? She has to be 35, even if she's. How old is AOC? Let me see this. And I'm just spitballing here. AOC, she is 34 years old, October the 13th. So guess what? Come November, she will have turned 35. Because you have to be, this is important. You have to be, at the time that you run for vice president, or the fact that you are the vice president, you have to be eligible as if you were running for president. So imagine that. Now, of course, they have nothing to do with each other. I'm just being fantastic in terms of being a part of a fantasy. That would be the end of the party for a good 15 years. And by the way, this party is going to end. It's been destroyed for a good 10 years. You're not going to be able to fix what people have been through, what we have seen. So just grasp what's happening right now. Ask yourself the question, as a strategist, we're only thinking about, remember, independent and undecided voters. We're thinking also about, and this is critical, we're also thinking about, toss-up states, critical states, those that where you have a chance. We're not worried about California. It's not going to happen. New York may flip, though. New York flipped, went Republican with Ronald Reagan. Do you look at me? Tell me you understand how great this race just got. Tell me that you understand from the moment of that debate, from the moment that you saw Joe Biden squint and whisper and mumble, from the moment you saw that, history was made. Do you understand what I'm saying? History was made. There is nothing like this that we've ever seen before. It's going to be one for the record books. Nobody. It's like if anybody cared about preseason, for football, it's never happened. Everything that that Biden does, everything that he does, every single thing has nothing to do with his speech, his plans, his thoughts, his ideas, his worldview. They're going to be looking at his face. How much spray tan did they put on him? They've got to make a joke about that. Trump's got to say, hey, Don. Listen, Joe, I'm going to ask you a question. Can you give me the name of the guy who does your little touch-up? That's good. Because my guy was a little strong with the gun. But this, Trump's got to acknowledge the orange. They call him Orange Man. They call him Orange Jesus. They call him Orange Man. They've been calling Trump Orange Man. Biden is an orange man now. This is the joke. Imagine this. By the way, pretty good. I like that. Can I get your guy's name? Very good. Either that or your bilirubin is off the charts and you're in the middle of hepatitis or something. This is like nothing you've ever seen before. Trump is going to just walk into this and take it. He was ahead of Biden. He's ahead of Kamala. Please let her speak. The moment she says anything, I guarantee you, RNC research, Trump War Room, everybody, they're going to be rolling tape, as they say. And you're going to see something that's just everybody that I know. Everybody's saying, did you see that debate? What the hell was that all about? Jonathan says, Lionel, how do we fix the deep state problem? It seems our founders didn't account for this. Now it seems like the biggest threat to our republic. Jonathan, how do we fix it? First, by electing Trump. Number two, making the public aware of extra governmental, extra judicial forces. Not only the deep state, the police state, the intel state, the shadow government, big tech, big pharma, big agra. Those are also special interests. We've always had this. So don't feel like now, for the first time, we have a deep state now. No, we've had special interests. We've had the military industrial complex, different names. I get it right. Of course. But you got to understand people like Klaus Schwab. Very interesting interview with Joe Rogan and Roger Waters. Absolutely one for the ages. One for the ages. Joe Rogan is so bloody smart, it's not even funny. He and Roger Waters nailed it. And he brought up that consummate phony Bono, or as Roger called him, Bono. So the deep state, the next thing you have to do is to let people know what it is. To let people know what it is. To let people know these people that run the show. If I said, hello, my friends. Hi, good to see you. Thanks for coming out. My name is Jonathan. I'm a member of the Conspiratorium. I'd like to tell you something. First, Gene Crane says, I thought the study of rocks, dirt was tough. Been reading the legal stuff from Trump cases. I have to look up so many words, Mr. L. You have my respect. Well, thank you, but it's not that hard. Very simple. Now, if you want to read something really hard, look up the rule against perpetuities. That'll blow your mind. Lives in being plus 21. What? Springing interest, the fertile octogenarian rule. What? That's property. Real property? Whoa. Weird. Very strange. Very strange. What the hell is this about? And contract law? Oh, dear God. Oh, whoa. It can get so deep, but beautifully deep. But thank you for that. But I'm going to see old Johnny here. Johnny's got a good point. You have to make somehow people catch on. And we need people like Tucker, Candace, anybody else who will help, Glenn Beck, Alex Jones. I don't care, whoever it is, Megan Kelly, to let people know what it is, how people work. If I see, you don't want to overthrow. You don't want to overwhelm people with too much. And also, we want to win this election first, and then we'll get to that later. Because he's going to win this. He's going to win this. And Trump's always going to say, and by the way, watch them come after me right now. Remember what they did, ladies and gentlemen. See, Trump has got to, once, especially when he's in there, he's got to have his own network where he can speak. But one day he says, roll, call Gary and whoever the guy is. Gary, come on in. Roll. You got your camera? Roll. Let's roll. He's got to have a little studio or something in the way. The best studio in the world is the Oval Office. And if he said, I want you to understand something. Maybe, I know we haven't talked about this, folks, in a while, but I want you to hear me out. They went to a guy, and they went to a guy named Remington Steele. That's right. He was played by Pierce Brosnan. And they went and they made up a story using Fusion GPS. And they made up a story about two harlots relieving themselves on the percales of a bed in a Hyatt or a Motel 6 in Moscow. And I don't know why they did it, according to the story, but they made it up. They paid somebody to come up with this. They then took that story and they went to various federal judges and they used it as a basis for securing wiretaps and the like. That is the deep state. George Keane says, expect me to tune in to you and Mrs. L perpetually. Indeed, in perpetuity. It's George Keane. But he's got to say something. You understand what happened? Hi, I'm President Donald Trump. Do you think that Lee Harvey Oswald was responsible for the dispatching of the 35th president? I know. Bobby Kennedy has no interest in this whatsoever. He just wants to, I don't know what he wants to do. I have no idea what he wants. I thought he was serious. But do you think so? Come on. That's the deep state. That's the deep state. Our story has been involved, ladies and gentlemen, with with a group of people called the media that have been responsible for perpetuating the particular movements of various iterations of American population. George says DJT was allegedly PO'd about the dossier. Indeed. By the way, good word is that's either called urolagnia or undinism. They kept using this term regarding a certain form of showers, and it's like, no, they got that one wrong. But you got to remind people of this. You got to have people say, wow, I never thought about this. Yes, this is true. And you see, folks, when they tell you this, or if you were to bring this up, they call you. Oh, by the way, this is Trump later on. Not now. After he wins. Okay, he's termed out. Okay, fine. But he's got to tell people this. And explain this. And I love when somebody comes along and you have no idea. One of my dreams is to be able to have a summer class in which I have people come, kids, and we teach them how things really work. And I tell them, today, class, this is a term called, this is important, false flag. You want to look at this is pun. You're in for a treat when talking about dossier. Thank you so much. You are incredible. In 1898, ladies and gentlemen, there was this boat, the ship called the Maine. And it was in Havana Harbor. And we wanted, like anything, to get involved with the Spanish-American War. But we needed something. So what did we do? Called up William Randolph Hearst. And da-da-da, we have the Maine. It blows up somehow, and his papers cover it. And next thing you know, we're in the war. Just like the war in Iraq. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen? What was that about? I don't know. 9/11? I don't know, I guess. Afghanistan? What is that about? I guess 9/11. I don't know. Nobody knows. We did that. And they want you to look the other way. And the people who brought it up were called conspiracy theorists. And George Gore Vidal, by the way, said it best. He says, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a conspiracy analyst. And there's story after story after story. Years ago, when they said Vietnam was based on the Gulf of Tonkin, they said this is a joke. This is ridiculous. This is stupid. This is crazy. This is a conspiracy theory. Do you understand this? George even says, I always get the main point with you, Mr. L. Oh, you are, by the way, you are very punny. I'm going to put you in the penitentiary. And what you are exhibiting right now is called paranomasia. And that is, of course, artful punning, play on words. And you also, if you keep this up, you may indeed have Witzelsucht. Little time out. This is my favorite neurological disease. Did you ever hear of this one? This is my favorite. Witzelsucht. Let me get I like the official explanation. Witzelsucht. It means joking addiction. It's a set of pure and rare neurological symptoms characterized by a tendency to make puns or tell inappropriate jokes or pointless stories in socially inappropriate situations. It makes one unable to read sarcasm. A less common symptom is hypersexuality, the tendency to make sexual comments at inappropriate times or situations. Patients do not understand that their behavior is abnormal. Therefore, they are non-responsive to others' reactions. The disorder is most commonly seen in patients with frontal lobe damage, particularly right frontal lobe tumors or trauma. The disorder remains named in accordance with the review definition by German neurologist Hermann Oppenheim. Its first description as the less focused either Moria, Moria, which is called pathological giddiness or lunatic mood. Now, imagine having a neurological disease made after somebody who's telling too many jokes. Leave it to the Germans to come up with a pathological disease for somebody who's joking too much. That's my favorite one. I told you recently there was a story of Bobby Kennedy Jr. who wants to, he was asked about a particular event that occurred 23 years ago during the 9th month and the 11th day. And he said something so inane, so base, so vapid, so devoid of any commitment because he was told, in essence, I mean, it's obvious, stay away from this. Just stay away from it. Talk about anything you want. Candace Owens stuck her toe in the water and said, why are they doing this? Why? Why? Why all of a sudden? Why? Why all of a sudden are we hearing about things that we were told? Why all of a sudden are people talking about Wuhan and the source of COVID, SARS-CoV-2, and vaccines and contraindications and side effects and the like? Why? Who sounded the klaxon? Who said it was okay? Why is this okay? Why? Everybody, there was a time when it was just, you were just done. You were shelved. Now all of a sudden they're talking about it. Why? How does this work? There was a time also when very, very strict rules were anybody who decided to, quote, side with Russia. Sean Lucan, by the way, gifted 10 Lionel Nation membership. Sean, thank you, my friend. George Keane says, seriously, the father of that day in September was Oklahoma City. Any thoughts on that event in 93? You're talking about, it wasn't that particular building, but that was a precursor. That was something that Ramzi Youssef and others as well. Fascinating. But let me just explain something to you. What Tucker will find out, and Candace and others, and it's something I want you to understand. People do not want the truth. You know how you say you want the truth? How you love the truth? You don't want the truth. Not because you can't handle the truth, not to steal the line from the movie, but you don't want to hear narratives redescribed, rerouted, re-explored, re-explained. You don't want that because of the fact that it destroys the narrative. And people do not want to think of evil forces or people elsewhere that the government has no control over. Let me give you one of the reasons why the government has been absolutely, positively adamant in shutting down any discussion of UFOs, EBEs, and the like. It doesn't look good for the government. It doesn't look good for the government to say, hey, guess what? We had major military installations compromised. We had things that came in that we couldn't track on radar, that we couldn't respond to, that we couldn't knock out of the sky. We had what could very well amount to be craft from outer space enter our airspace. Look at Rendlesham Forest, basically not only fly over, but deactivate and make inoperable certain weapon systems. How are they supposed to go out and say, yeah, that was there? Yeah, it was there. So what did they do? They say it never happened, and you're a conspiracy theorist. How is it that J. Edgar Hoover never could have ever admitted that there's a mafia, that there's a Cosa Nostra in the U.S.? How? And the reason why is simple. He's in charge of a national police agency. He's not going to tell you, oh, and by the way, under my watch, you've got the 5 families, you got Vinnie Teresa, you got Joe Valachi, you got all these people. He has to say, it never happened. There is no such thing. It's a myth. Communism. Now that's it. Communism. It also helps when J. Edgar Hoover was basically, who was a degenerate gambler, when he and his boyfriend, Clyde Tolson, used to go to Frank Costello's horse track and bet on all of the ponies that Costello told him to bet on. and Welsh on bets and not pay back. I mean, it just do you think people want to hear this? No, of course not. Of course not. And what they do is they just let you decide, because the question was about the deep state. You let other people here. I'll let Oliver Stone. Oliver Stone was more responsible for opening up the public's interest in JFK than anything else. More than the Zapruder film in '75 on Geraldo Rivera, more than anything else. A movie. Think about that. And there are so many experts. They have conventions. They have people on the internet, on channels, and they give you names of people. And each one trying to tell you that they know more than the next guy. The name of the lady at the biograph, that was Dillinger, at the movie that was, I think Van Heflin was playing, and her name was Margaret Gallagher. She was married to the cab driver who took the cab to Tippett's home and bought the .38, and the man at the gun store, his name was Eddie Roslin, whose cousin happened to be the roommate that actually, and they just tell you all this stuff. And it's all true. But you become so confused. You're saying, what the hell does this have to do with anything? I'm just pointing out that I know things. I'm pointing out stuff. Still, the shooter is saying, whether it's, Sarti or whoever it was, maybe Badgeman, they're saying they haven't mentioned us. They're talking about the woman who rented the house to the apartment, to Marina Oswald. What the hell's going on here? That's another thing you got to remember. Load people up with facts and they'll get confused. Jonathan says, what will be the big Wag the Dog event before November? Well, honestly, I don't know if it matters. Jonathan, you don't know what happened when Joe Biden was, when he humiliated himself. You have no earthly idea. Let me try to explain this to you. Let me try to put this into perspective. In the history of our republic, there has never been anything as serious as that. Nothing. It changed the face of debates from now on. Now people want to see how vegged Joe is, and if he steps down or is replaced, and if Kamala is the replacement, how vegged and stupid, how crazy she is. Because now people for the first time said, hey, this presidential stuff is interesting when you've got a veg and some word salad freak. They love this. Do you hear what I'm saying? There are new people coming to this election who were saying, we're not voting for these people. Now, whether this translates to voting for Trump, I don't know. But just keep in mind how great this is. This is transitional, shape-shifting. It's the most incredible thing in the world. Now, ladies in germs, it's an old line, a couple of things for you to be aware of. Number one, on October the 26th, in New York's Cutting Room, I'm going to be hitting the stage and wowing the likes of you with an evening of absolute ribaldry and the immaculate twang of Mother Bluegrass. 10 days to go before the election. Just imagine it. It's a Saturday night. 10 days before November the 5th. 10 days. Imagine where we will be then and what we are thinking then. Imagine. That's the link. Cutting Room right there. Right here. That's it. And you wonderful people, just for the meeting. Imagine Lizzie Solak's been there. dead mother. She was there one time. Went amazing. Danced on top of the table, singing Marching to Pretoria. Had to call security, but once they saw how great she was, they said, you know what, let her go. Just imagine a room full of you great and inspired patriots. And I mean that sincerely. Next, this is also critical. You know where I'm going with this. Mrs. L. That's right. I want you to go to and become a subscribe to her YouTube channel, Lynn's Warriors. Lynn's Warriors. A channel on YouTube dedicated to stopping child predation, promoting digital safety, and stopping human trafficking. Lynn's Warriors. Indefatigable, inexhaustible, inexorable in her quest, her desire to destroy those people who would seek to destroy our most vulnerable citizens. Okay? You got that? And I think there was one more keen pun or paranomazia contribution. Who is Trump's team? No par scale. Win almost an automatic and auto. George, I think what you're saying, win almost on autopilot or automatic. He is going to win. He is going to win. Brad Parscale was a genius then. Brad Parscale changed the course of everything. Brad Parscale was the first person to to coordinate the use of Facebook and other social media platforms with this. He had some problems. I don't know what happened. I don't know where he went. I have no earthly idea of what happened. And I mean that sincerely. All right, dear friends. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your contributions. You were so wonderful. George Keene, Jonathan, thank you so much tonight. Sincerely. I mean that sincerely. Stephen Steiber, thank you. Sean Martin, the Sean Martin to you, ladies and gentlemen. Jean or Jean-Marie, not to be confused with Karine Jean-Pierre, who is my favorite of them all. Reminds me of some egret out there with his head jerky motion. Eaters of Dead, thank you for a most poignant and most fascinating question. Jean Crane, thank you so much. And I think I said Jonathan, and you and yours, Sean Lucan, thank you so much for your gift. And you were just wonderful, just absolutely marvelous. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. It is so hot in New York City today. It was absolutely incredible. By the way, men, be careful during hot days. As you know, scrotal temperatures can reach high levels. Always bring with you a pack of frozen niblets to jam down your shorts in those particular days when the intemperate conditions of the environment may make epididymal basal temperatures too high. Just a word of the wise. Just a word of the wise. All right, dear friends, have a great day. You mentioned Wuzo. Here's my Wuzoo. Here's the thing for this. I do not endorse. I'm not getting paid for this. Wuzu is the greatest. I love this thing. It's a great little fan. 5 speeds in any event. I love you. Have a great night, my friends. Thank you so much for your thoughts and comments, for your participation and the like. And we'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And until then, remember these words, this valedictory, this sayonara, this adios. Remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Suya. Ta-ta.